Make-A-Wish employees. What was the strangest thing a Make-A-Wish kid asked for and actually received? Story 1. I helped host a visit to the planetarium by a kid whose wish was to go to the moon. The front office folks thought I could just give her a personal tour of the planetarium and show her some nice high-resolution visuals, but I thought she deserved better than that. I commissioned a jeweler friend and a meteorite enthusiast to make a silver crescent moon necklace, which he graciously donated to the cause. And I donated a small lunar meteorite from my own collection. It was a gorgeous necklace, very much to the credit of my friend's artistry and generosity. We couldn't take her to the moon, so we gave it to her instead. She was thrilled, but later said a real highlight of the trip was the astronaut ice cream. Ah, kids. Story 2. My friend's an aquarist, and she told me about one 17-year-old cancer patient who had a wish to smell a sea lion's breath before he died. He had read it was the worst thing ever and was just curious to experience it for some reason. Plus, he liked sea lions, I guess. She was of course pretty shocked by the request and said, "Are you sure? I promise you really don't want to smell it. I always make sure to hold my breath if I'm getting that close." But he insisted and it was arranged. He puked and didn't enjoy it very much. Story 3. A funeral. He knew his parents wouldn't be able to afford one, so he wished to have his funeral paid for. They were able to convince him to make another wish, and he wished for gold lockets for his mom and sister with his initials engraved on them. Edit. His funeral was paid for as well. I believe another non-profit helped with that. They just really wanted him to have a wish for himself, but all he cared about was his family at the end. Story 4. After I survived cancer at age 17, I was offered a wish. I went to Christmas Island with my family to see the spawning of the red crabs, reckoned to be one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. Picture it, 1 million fist-sized red land crabs making their way down to the sea edge, release their eggs into the ocean over a period of just 3 hours or so. The Make-A-Wish volunteers looked horrified as I explained it, and I'm typing this now, so yes, I lived. Thanks. Edit. Come to think of it, I'm pretty sure my wish caught my family a bit off guard too. Story 5. I was a Make-A-Wish kid back in 2017, and my wish was to go see a live brain surgery in Seattle at University of Washington. I loved Grey's Anatomy, I loved Dr. Shepard, and I had brain cancer, so I wanted to see what my doctors kind of saw, and what an experience to have. I learned so much. I was a little neurosurgeon for a day, and the neurosurgeon was playing the pixels while operating. What a great happy moment. I won't forget. They even sent my family from Arizona to Seattle with me to have dinner with me in the Space Needle. Story 6. I worked at a Lego retail store in the 2000s, and a Make-A-Wish approached us for a child with terminal osteosarcoma who wanted to be in store for a day. Lego unfortunately denied the request, which surprised myself and the rest of the staff because Lego was a pretty great company. Staff decided to honor the request ourselves. We closed the store early on a Sunday and then invited the kid in. He had a full run of the store. We collectively paid for like $1,000 worth of toys for him to take home and just spent the entire evening building whatever he wanted. He died a few months later. Story 7. I worked at a hospice and we had a wishing program. One of our patients, 24 years old with brain cancer, wanted to hold a sloth. Apparently, sloths were very nervous creatures, so it's a little tricky to actually hold one. I found a local company that does visits to schools and whatnot who had a sloth. Sloths only poop about once a week, and the sloth could only travel the day after he pooped because they get nervous any longer than that and the sloth has stress diarrhea. So basically, we had to wait until the sloth pooped and then set up the visit for the next day. The sloth pooped on Thanksgiving, so we set up the visit for the next morning. The patient was able to hold and pet a very sweet sloth. The patient died about 3 weeks later, and I'm very happy I was able to help give her some joy in her final weeks. Story 8. I used to be a wish granter, and one kid wished for his parents to become citizens. They were illegal, and it was a constant source of anxiety for the kid that they could be deported. Unfortunately, despite the name Make-A-Wish, we can't really grant everything, and we did try. We got a lawyer and everything, but it wasn't possible. More than 50% of the wishes are Disney though. Edit. Being a wish granter is a volunteer job, and I highly recommend it for anyone looking for a volunteer role. You get to ask the child their wish, and you organize the going away wish party. Edit. You guys have latched onto the going away party. 1. It's a common misconception, but most Make-A-Wish kids don't die. See my below comment. 2. They get a send-off party. Word it however you want, haha. But it's a party before they go on to their wish trip. A lot of parents use it to celebrate everything the child has overcome and put up pictures of them in treatment, etc. It is a send-off though, not to end of life, mind you. It's to Disney World or wherever they want to go. Story 9. Wish child and wish granter here. The strangest wish I heard from a fellow granter was the child wanted to visit his dad in prison. That's all he wanted and wouldn't be talked out of it. She offered to make the drive fancy at least because it was 2 hours away with a limo or a fun car ride. The child declined. His wish was to simply see his imprisoned dad, and it was granted, plain and simple. The wishes I granted were pretty traditional, Disney or other vacations. My weirdest wish was a little more sad. It was for a family of a girl who was completely immobile and had very low cognitive ability. The house was run down and reeked of weed. The home nurse was literally crying while holding onto the child. Her sibling said she wanted a pool. I was fuming. We talked with the mom, who wouldn't leave her own bed for unknown reasons, bong on the nightstand, and she agreed a pool wasn't the best idea. Nurse recommended a chair the child could sit in that would rock and calm her. Wish granted. Edit to add, for your information, my wish was Disney. I had a heart transplant in 1999. I'm fine now. About 60% of all wishes are Disney and totally worth it. My family took me again on my 20th heart anniversary and I'll never forget it. Story 10. My partner's nephew had cancer when he was younger. He asked the Make-A-Wish people for an Xbox. His dad and even a Make-A-Wish person was like, "Are you sure? You could have the entire family go to Disney in America if you want." And he's like, "Nah, I want an Xbox." Luckily and miraculously, he survived, so we can laugh about it now.